Interstellar is directed by Christopher Nolan. That's the last time I'm going to be saying that in quite a while. And it stars Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Michael Caine, Jessica Chastain, and you know, if you've clicked on this review, then you've probably seen Interstellar. So it stars Matt Damon as well as that sweaty metaphor for humankind who has no enthusiasm for life.
Baby.
This is yet another Nolan film which is quite diverse amongst, you know, fans and critics. You know, some people love this film, some people absolutely hate the film. I fall into the sort of the small minority of people, I guess, who think that this film is quite good, but it does have quite a lot of flaws as well. I mean, I do think that there are more good things than bad things about Interstellar, definitely, but it isn't a perfect film, even though it does have some truly great moments, which I'll talk about now. Firstly, this is a Nolan-directed film, which means that it looks absolutely great. The cinematography by Hoyt van Hoytema is on point. The score by Hans Zimmer is just another eargasm of a film score, and it's just a very well directed, very well cut together. And a quick thing about this film that I really liked, sort of a creative choice, was the fact that when he was filming his space scenes, you know, with the spaceship, Nolan would sort of stick his camera to the spaceship instead of going for the more traditional style like Star Wars or Star Trek of, you know, showing the ship from afar. I mean, there are shots like that in the film, but for the most part, the camera is always stuck to the ship, which I think gives the film a lot more of a grounded and realistic feel, which I think is much appreciated, because for me, at the end of the day, Interstellar isn't some big epic. It's an intimate film about the relationship between father and daughter. I'll talk about that in a bit. So I do understand and I really appreciate that creative choice. Also, I really respect the decision to shoot this film on film. And again, the cinematography is definitely on point. This is definitely one of the Nolan's best looking films, even though I would say that Inception is probably my favourite Nolan film from a cinematography point of view, but the sets and everything just feels so real, and you know, that's Nolan. He uses as many practical effects as possible, and that is definitely something I really appreciate. And with this film, I feel like you can kind of tell when you watch it that it is made by people who are passionate about film, who are passionate about filmmaking, who love their job, and I think that really shows. And so with this film, it's basically impossible to find a flaw in terms of the technical aspects of it. Now let's talk about the acting. Matthew McConaughey is absolutely great in this film. He gives such an emotional and complex performance, and you know, this is one of my favourite Matthew McConaughey performances, and this is coming from a guy who really likes Matthew McConaughey, and I think Matthew McConaughey has given some of the best performances in the last couple of years. You know, Dallas Buyers Club, True Detective, and Interstellar is definitely one of them for me. Also, Anne Hathaway is great, Michael Caine is great, Jessica Chastain is great, Matt Damon, like I said, who plays the character who has literally no hope, he's pretty great, and Casey Affleck is also in this film. This is kind of like, I guess, before Casey Affleck won his Oscar, so yeah, he wasn't like super famous then, and he has like a supporting role, but it's nice to see Casey Affleck in something. Wes Bentley from American Beauty is also great, so the performances throughout are very good, but McConaughey is the standout. He's just probably Oscar worthy, I would say. I also really like the character of Tars. I think he's definitely one of the more iconic robots in films, and I think he makes up for the lack of humor and sort of fun in this film, because one of the things that I don't like so much about Interstellar is that how it isn't that enjoyable. It's not that rewatchable. You know, it's not like an Inception or a Dark Knight in which you can watch it for the deep artistic meanings, but at the same time they have these, you know, big action scenes. Interstellar isn't really like that, and so that kind of makes it feel slightly more pretentious, but I think the addition of Tars, you know, having some humor does help quite a bit. And probably my favourite aspect of this film is that even though it is this sort of big space film, deep down it is the story of the relationship between father and daughter. And I'm not just talking about Matthew McConaughey and his daughter, I'm talking about Michael Caine and Anne Hathaway. You know, this level of emotional depth that is added to the film, I feel like is by far the most important and the best aspect of the film, because like I said, it gives sort of that emotional depth, you know, and I feel like without this sort of idea of the father and daughter relationship, the film would have kind of just came off as a 2001 rip-off, I guess, and it really is sort of what separates Interstellar from other films of its genre. Let's say Sunshine, for example. I don't feel like Sunshine has nearly as much emotional depth as Interstellar, and I think the reason that Interstellar has so much emotional depth is because of the way it explores the relationship between father and a daughter. And my favourite scene in the entire film is when Matthew McConaughey is sitting down, looking at the screen, seeing his children grow up in front of him, and that was a truly heartbreaking scene, and it's one of the most well-directed, well-executed, and just brilliant scenes I've ever seen in my life. And that's the thing about Interstellar, though. It's not a perfect film, but it just has so many great, sort of legendary almost moments, and that scene is one of them. Now, my biggest issue with Interstellar, I would say I probably have two things, and that's, first of all, this film is way too long. At least 20 minutes, at least, could be shaven off the runtime, maybe more. This film was almost 3 hours long, and it doesn't need to be. This film definitely overstays its welcome, if you know what I mean. And also, Interstellar, from the beginning, has sort of been building itself as this grounded, sort of realistic space film. And when Matthew McConaughey goes into that black hole and starts time traveling and doing that wormhole stuff, and I feel like that part sort of takes away from the realistic feeling that has been built up from the beginning, and it just feels a little bit cheesy. And also the ending, which is good, I guess, it also feels a little bit too cheesy. But aside from that, I really do think Interstellar, it's not like a sci-fi classic or anything, but I do feel that this is a very good film. It's a film that you should definitely watch if you haven't seen it yet, but I think you have if you clicked on this review. There's some really great stuff in this film, but it does get bogged down by the runtime and, you know, some of the cheesy stuff. But I'm going to give Interstellar an A-. Guys, thank you as always for watching. This is the end of my Nolan review series, so it's going to be like 2 years before I get to review another Nolan film at least. But I will be starting a new series. I won't tell you what it is yet, but definitely, guys, keep your eyes out for that. Thank you as always for watching, guys. Thank you.